Hello, JESPA members. I'm concerned, but not about catching the coronavirus. Like many of you, I am self-quarantined and practicing social distancing. I have been reading, playing board games with my family, taking walks with the dog, and of course working for the good of 4,000 classified staff, also known as ESPs, or Education Support Professionals, who serve the staff and students of Jeffco Public Schools. This imposed downtime has also given me a chance to reflect on the times we are in and the impact on our ESPs and other school-based staff who are not able to work during this health crisis. I applaud our Superintendent, Dr. Glass, HR Director David Bell, and other district leaders for showing, through their words and actions, that they are committed to ensuring that staff do not lose their income and have some measure of stability through these uncertain times. But for so many of our staff, working in Jeffco only pays a portion of the bills. The ridiculous cost of living in the Denver metro area was creating a crisis all on its own before anyone ever heard of the coronavirus. It will be interesting to see what our government leadership, both at the local, state, and federal levels, will do to ensure that people who worked 2 and 3 jobs before the health crisis don't suffer even more after the crisis is over. So let's take a minute to recall what happened during the economic downturn of 2008 to 2011, caused by greedy bankers taking huge risks with their money and threatening the stability of the entire U.S. financial system. Many of us worked for the district during this time and agreed to pay freezes and even a pay cut that was eventually restored while the federal government scrambled to bail out Wall Street. While bankers enjoyed a $313 billion bailout, low-paid hourly workers in Jeffco had their pay frozen for 3 years. Take a minute to think about that. While bankers enjoyed a $313 million bailout, Jeffco workers took a 3-year pay cut. Does this sound fair to you? Let's not lose sight of this injustice. So here we are in 2020, standing at the doorstep of yet another potential economic crisis put into motion by the coronavirus. While no one is at fault for this health crisis, it is causing great concern for many hourly workers who depend on 2 to 3 jobs in order to make ends meet. I have spoken to a number of you over the past week who have been unable to work and are wondering when all of this will end. Whereas we are grateful we will be receiving our Jeffco paychecks at least through April 17th, we are deeply concerned about what happens after that. Reports are already starting to surface about how this will impact statewide school funding in May when the governor signs off on the annual school finance bill, and quite possibly reveals that there isn't enough money to fund our Colorado schools to the level they need to be funded. Oh well, sorry kids. Adequate funding for our schools so that workers have a livable wage is directly related to the well-being and future success of our students. Think about it. If our bus drivers are working several jobs and are exhausted driving in the morning, is that a good drive safe scenario? Or how about the fact that we are about 50 drivers short in Jeffco and bus drivers are having to drive multiple routes to cover the shortage, thereby having students late to school every day? How about the shortage of custodians not able to adequately clean schools or get burned out and quit because the square footage they have to clean is not doable in one 8 or 4 hour shift? What about the paraeducators who work with our most vulnerable special needs students? We have severe shortages in special needs workers where an employee could make more working at a fast food restaurant than working in the physically and emotionally demanding world of SPED. Did you know there are food service workers in our Jeffco schools right now facing the reality that if they choose to stay, they will be working alone in their school kitchens to prep, serve, and cashier their programs, which causes many kids to skip the long lines and thus lunch? There are an endless number of stories about how low pay in school support jobs is bad for kids. So what are we going to do about it? Are we going to accept that there is nothing we can do about it because the coronavirus tapped the state budget? That is complete baloney. I notice that when there is a budget priority, that somehow governments find the money. Unfortunately, our state has been underfunding education for too long in order to prioritize other issues. What could be more important than stabilizing the workforce so that students have consistent staffing and support for their education journey? Why in the world would anyone choose to move to Colorado where funding public education is at the bottom of the funding priority list? As the president of JESPA, I am here to tell you that I will not sit still while we continue to underfund our schools and what is best for students, either at the state or district level. I need you all to stay alert and stay committed to what is best for you, which is a living wage, and thus for our students. I am amazed at the commitment to our schools, communities, and kids. You all are what is best for students, but if you can't pay your bills, then our students are at risk. Are you guys out there? Are you with me? Please take a moment during your time at home to go to the JESPA website at jeffcoespa.org. Join the closed Facebook page linked below to share information and concerns. You can also look over ways to stay involved and to stay determined to ask for what our students need. Thank you for listening, and stay well.